more thing about the compressor is to understand its capacity of how much air it can produce. So one important thing to look at your label right here. One thing you want to look at is liters per minute or CFM rating. So they have a ratio to convert. You could check that equation on internet. But this motor here is about 20 to 23 liters per minute, which means in a minute of time it produces 20 or 23 liters of air. And where your airbrush roughly consumes about 15 to 20 liters per minute of air. So it's actually used a lot of air. That also depends on how fast you spray. If you continue to hold your airbrush, then we're going to use a little bit more air. If you want to just tap like this, you use less air. So you can see your compressor. As soon as you start working, your compressor kicks in. Okay, that means this compressor is good enough to push for one airbrush at about 40 psi. So if you split air to use for two airbrushes, that means your pressure going to drop into at least drop to 10 to 15 psi. So your pressure going to be much lower. In that case, if you have a thicker paint, you're going to have a trouble spraying the paint out of your airbrush. So solution is you could thin your paint much thinner to use for two airbrushes. You're going to go a little slower, but at least you can keep going. Okay, but ideally one compressor should go with one airbrush.